Hello and welcome into the KE Report. Shad and Corey getting an update from Scottie Resources. Scottie is traded on the TSX.V under the ticker SCOT and on the OTCQB under the ticker SCTSF. And we're joined today with the president and CEO of Scottie Resources, Brad Rourke. And Brad, great to get you on the show. You put out a couple news releases since we've talked last. Last time we were talking about the new Wolf Zone. And now this time we're talking about some drill results from both the Scottie mine and then just on the 16th today, you put out some information from the Blueberry contact zone. A headline hole here, 59.2 grams per ton gold over 2.5 meters, so about 150 gram meter hole there, and 35.2 grams per ton gold over 2 meters. Both those at the Blueberry contact zone. Now, you continued to hit pay dirt here at this area. You've continued to build some mass, but you made a great point off Mike that not only are these great grade over mineable widths, but also it's important for how they're filling in the shape of this deposit. So what are the key takeaways you want investors to know about these drill results you just put out?
Sure. A lot of the results we've been putting out previous today has been Scotty because it's been not drilled so much. So we did do about 3,500 meters at Blueberry. So, and again, just filling in, we're working towards that resource that I hopefully will have for March 1st. So yeah, we're really encouraged because yeah, it's a great hit, almost 2 ounces over 2.5 meters, but it's how they relate to the other hits within that Lemoffe veins and stuff. So it's really bringing the shapes together. So it just gives us, just confidence that we're on, this is going to turn out to where we think it's going to be. So great hit. But, they're two great hits, to be honest. And the 70 gram meter, they're not close to each other. They're good spaced out apart. And again, it's, when I talk to the technical team, it's just how the shapes are all matching up with each other and, where we wouldn't have connected before. So it's connecting other high grade hits. So it's exciting. And again, it just gives us confidence that, that resource is going to be very acceptable when we put it out.
Brad, give us a little bit more info on that, then how you're saying that it's connecting some of these areas. Looking at the cross section, the long section, they're both in this news release. In all fairness, the long section, look, these holes look like they're around some other results. So explain how these holes have, I guess, connected areas and even expanded mineralized zones.
Yeah, it's really hard to see it when you're looking in long section because you're looking at 2D, right? And this is a 3D thing. So even though it looks like, oh, look at those holes are, sometimes we get guys, look how close your holes are together. I'm going, well, if you look at the 3D model, of which anybody wants to look at it, contact us. We were more than happy to jump on a call and have Thomas walk through the 3D with you. But, they're quite spaced apart. So now this would be better for Thomas to speak about than myself. But as this model gets developed, you got a hit over here and 100 meters away, you got another hit. But the resource modeler doesn't work for Scotty. They're independent. They're going, well, I'm not confident that those are related to each other. So what you do is you put a hole in the middle, like another, if they're 100 meters apart, try and put one 50 meters in between two of those zones. So when we hit that, those shapes now become one. And that should theoretically work really well towards this mineable resource.
Well, and one of the things that you see, Brad, on the cross section is you can tell that there's not just one vein here. As we've talked about before, there's multiple veins. There's actually more veins than you have names for because you just started naming groups of veins. So maybe just talk about the vein density too and how with these holes, you're crossing multiple areas.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so if people remember from from 6 short years ago, Blueberry was one vein. And you're right. I don't even know how many now that we've found along the Blueberry contact zone. So that's different than Scotty. But there's probably 45 veins, I'd imagine, maybe more. And you're right. We're just grouping them now. Yeah, yeah. And so, and it continues on. Most of the drillings within that first 700 meters. And that's what we've been focusing on. We didn't really go exploring too much this year. We really just wanted to get to that resource, except we found a new discovery at that Wolf Zone at Scotty. But yeah, there's 40 some odd veins and we just start grouping them, and just because it's hard for us to keep track, or certainly for me not being super technical, but I think Dave and Thomas have a million names. Yeah.
So Brad, look, this is all filtering into a resource. I know a lot of people are going to have a very close eye on this resource that's coming. Seems like most of the drilling has been done at the Blueberry Zone. However, that Scottie Mine Zone will also be in that resource. Give us some insights into how much drilling's been done at Blueberry, some of the spacings in between the holes, just what we could expect. Again, all the work that's gone into this resource.
Sure. So again, the resource modeler will determine this, but our spacing at Blueberry, we'll talk Blueberry first. We kind of a couple years ago, we identified, confirmed that we figured the fluids were coming up that lithological contact, and then the gold trap are these pear-type pyrite veins that cross-cut that north-south contact, east-west veins, and they're not exactly east-west, and it's not exactly north. But the trap for the gold is in these pear-type pyrite veins, but the fluids are coming up this contact. Well, we just did a diamond pattern, 100-meter diamond pattern across that plane of the lithological contact. And then what you see now is like we're putting holes. If you can imagine a 100-meter diamond pattern, if you put a hole in the middle of that diamond, then those holes are all 50 meters away from each other. And that was kind of the plan from a few years. So at Blueberry, I'm going to just guess, I don't know the exact, but probably 40,000 meters we put into Blueberry since the first drill hole. And I think we put 5 holes or 4 holes in 2019 in Blueberry. And, Scottie Gold was our main actor. This was why I got involved, took this company over, is because of Scottie. And, every year we go out, has a little bit of helicopter aspect to it. So it's a little bit more expensive. But, we found the P zone. Now we found the Wolf zone, C and D veins. There's going to be about 15,000 meters. This year we did about 4,000 at Scottie, which is the most we've ever done. But again, it's all geared towards the resource, not necessarily big exploration step outs. In the past, we did step outs at Scottie. And this was because there's no core that exists from when it was mined. So in order to put that resource out, we have to do a bunch of these confirmation holes. But lo and behold, as you saw this year, there's about 15 holes. We're very pleased with what we see, because when it ran at a 10-gram cutoff. Today, an underground mine in the Golden Triangle is 2.5, and heck, it's going to be 2 grams here pretty quick as we hit $3,000 gold. There's a halo around that existing resource. That was always our theory, and I think we'll be able to show the market that I think we're pretty spot on with our theory, and we're maybe 6 weeks away from just being able to prove that. So I think in total, it'd be about 55,000 meters drilled total for Scottie and Blueberry. And that does not include the P zone, the C and D zone, and the Domino and some of these other discoveries we have, because we just simply don't have enough holes into those zones. But we certainly would love to put more holes into it. So about 55,000 meters, I think, for that resource will constitute. And if we're right and come up with, in around that 1 million ounce mark, I think we look pretty good, because that's not a lot of drilling to find 1 million ounces.
No, Brad, that's really not. When you think about what other companies have to drill to get to 1 million ounces, it's multiples of 55,000 meters. So hats off to your team for finding enough mass quick enough in these drill seasons to bulk up to 1 million. And you think, and then some, because there's all those other areas you just mentioned that aren't even included. Let's focus just a little bit on Scottie. While Blueberry is going to be the larger contributor, you have put out a lot of holes this year. We've discussed some of them. Like we said, even last time we talked about the new Wolf Zone as a new discovery. You did put out some results just on the 7th that are at least worth mentioning, just because they're kind of filling in the blanks here, and that filling in the area. And that is the 20 grams per ton gold, which is high grade over 2.6 meters. That's at the O zone. And then hole 339, you had 9.5 grams per ton gold over 3 meters. That's at the M zone. And 4.5 grams per ton gold over 4 meters at the N zone. So there you've got those letters, the O's, the M's, the N's. We've talked about the P zone that's not going to make it, but we've talked about the L zone before. So there's a lot of those areas stacking up in the Scottie mine area. Maybe talk about how that's a contributor and how it's still got room to grow.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. So if you look at when Don started this mine in the 80s, he just found a vein on surface and really just started mining. There's really been no property-wide exploration. It's been 5 years since we drilled Domino, but we hit beautiful hits at Domino. It's just we haven't gone back there because it's just capital so tight, and you got to really, really manage that money well and kind of go after the lowest hanging fruits. Now, yeah, 20 grams over 2 meters from, a couple weeks ago, that intercept. It's fantastic when you know that that is going to be towards a resource. And, the market these days is, boy, oh boy, they want, 500 gram meter holes or something. Where gone are the days where if you drilled a 100 gram meter hole, people would sit up and go, oh, doesn't mean you have a mine, but it certainly means you should do due diligence on any project that has a 100 gram meter hole. And then, of course, grade is king, right? And so what we provide is probably higher grade than a lot of projects out there. So, with Scotty, what I would like to highlight is it's permitted. There's 7 kilometers underground workings. We are going, even though we do have underground drill permits for Scotty, we've been going up top and drilling through these multiple zones. I think as we go to the next evolution of where Scotty's going to go, and that comes with money and stuff, is that you'd go underground now and it'd be really, really efficient to really start putting ounces on the board at Scotty. But I think we've proven the concept. It's there. We can continue to put ounces on the board as we have in the past few years. And that, I think that's the takeaway. And we'll see, what we're targeting. This is what we hope. And we'll see how smart we are here in the very near future is, maybe a quarter of that resource is going to come out of Scotty. And we believe it'll be over 10 grams. And then Blueberry is a little bit less on grade, but that's because there's that open pit aspect of the top part of Blueberry where you take, even though you see these huge intercepts, you're taking, this big strip ratio. And so, if we're happy on the top 150 meters of Blueberry being around 3.5, 4 grams, that would be a big win for us. And then, of course, underground at Blueberry, then we would be treated much like you would at Scotty and more precision mining and very, very high grade veins. So you got to walk before you run. And we just, we've always been just shorthanded. So I think this could be the transformative year. I mean, I want to remind people that, we're really been pursuing a DSO models, trying to differentiate ourselves from other just pure exploration companies. That bulk shipping terminals just 40 kilometers down the road. We are in the middle of an ore sorting study right now with Rourke over in Germany. And we figure if we can upgrade our ores, whether it's Scotty or the Blueberry ore, the economics are going to look really good on this. And we plan, by the end of 2025, perhaps even have a PEA out on just the economics of how this deposit looks. And still wide open. Like I can continue to find ounces. We're not cut off anywhere, with the exception of the north part of Blueberry.
So in terms of future news, even before this resource, what's still to come here, Brad? How many more meters? How many more holes approximately are you still to release? And any of these holes that are coming, could they truly move the needle for Blueberry, for the Scotty zone here, due to, let's say, bigger step outs or anything that was a bit of a change in terms of the strategy from the overall program?
Yeah, the answer is what is going to move the needle. I mean, 150 gram meter hole today doesn't. We went down, we opened up lower. Everything that you're going to see, we do have at least one more Blueberry news release to come, in probably in a week or two or such. The news that we're really excited to put out is the ore sorting news, and again, I don't know the information to that yet. And then the resource, we didn't go way out. I mean, we only did like 10,000 meters in 2024 because we wanted to preserve capital. I'm very happy I did that now. Is you never know if you're making the right decisions when you make them, and you get scared. But the market being the way it is right now, we're going into 2025 financially strong, so that's good. But yeah, you can expect another news release or two from Blueberry. We got the resource coming out. We're really pushing. Hopefully, we get that for PDAC. And the ore sorting study, again, it could, as far as I know, it could come in 3 weeks from now. We've been at that exercise for a little bit of a while. And all I know is there's a bunch of rocks in Germany. And, and our proxy to that is we really focused on the Osisko. They're upgrading. And so we've been told by the engineers that, this is great ore because the paratype pyrite, the mineralogy, the density of the rock is easy for these ore sorting. I've never heard a bad story. So until we get the data, it'll be good. And then I think other things to take note for Scotty is, Ascot kind of reshuffled the deck this week. And so there's looks like a new team, some new board members, and that project's going to go. They've been challenged, that's good for the area. It's good for Scotty. Goliath had a great hole. Skeen is doing very well. I just think people, is just a lot of enthusiasm's kind of muted on the Golden Triangle. But when you really look at it, you go, wow, the Golden Triangle is doing extremely well right now. And there's just no enthusiasm for anywhere in the sector at the moment. So, but I think that's going to change, and the price of gold's working in our favor. And hey, everything's working the way we want, except for the equity markets, and that'll come.
Well, Brad, we'll definitely keep following along because you got a lot of news on tap. So when you get those results out from Blueberry, we'll get you back on to do an update. And then at one point, we'll have Thomas come on at the end of the year and really recap this whole year's drill program. Everybody's looking forward to the resource coming out, the ore sorting results, obviously playing into that direct shipping ore model that you're looking at. And like you just highlighted, if Ascot's they've shuffled the deck and that whole thing is moving forward, you've got another option there, as well as Newmont finally getting done with their divesting, and you've got that at the Bruce Jack mine as another potential place. You've got options, and you've got resources building, and you got a lot of drilling data that you brought in this year and more to come. So for those that are listening in, if you want to follow along with all this news, definitely click on the link below the interview. It takes you right over to the Scottie Resources website where you can sign up for updates or just follow along with the news as it hits the wires. Definitely keep us posted, Brad. We'll get you back on for an update soon, and looking forward to seeing you guys at some of the events in Vancouver coming up this weekend, and looking forward to our next conversation.
Wonderful. I sure appreciate all the good work you guys do for the industry.